Hey everybody, and welcome back to Pre-Law Talk. My name is Joshua Garlick and I will be your host. I'm a current BYU Idaho communications student who will soon be applying to law school. I created this podcast in order to inform students about important topics such as the LSAT, the application process, law schools, and to give some advice. Alright, so last time we went over part 1 of law school rankings, and this time we're going to go over part 2, the last section, the second of 2 parts. And we're going to be talking about today are some specific resources that you can use to look at those law school rankings online, and some different useful resources that there are. So let's dive right in. Alright, so the first one we actually talked about last time. So if you go to any search engine and you type in Law School Rankings 2016, some of the first results you're going to get are going to be news articles such as U.S. News, Forbes, World Report about the 2016 law school rankings. And they put these out themselves. So they mostly include just an overall conglomeration of those rankings. So it's going to include, some big type of calculation of their ranking based off of everything. So LSAT, GPA, graduation rate, a bar passage rate, employment rate, pretty much as many numbers as you could possibly imagine. They're going to put it into a single ranking from 1 to 145, and that's what you're getting. Something that is nice on these sites is that they will actually compare their ranking from last year to the current year, so you can see whether or not a school has gone up or down or has stayed the same. That's important, right? Because consistency is key when looking into a school. You want them to be doing better, but you don't want them to be, doing better for some funky reason. You want them to be legitimately doing better than most other schools or other than they have in the past. So something to keep in mind, right? Alright, the second source that I want to give to you guys is called startclass.com. That's StartClass.com. StartClass is more of a service than the prior site that I spoke of. It is more than just a straight up list of ranked schools. Yes, it does have a list, the same list of ranked schools that Forbes or U.S. News will have. But on StartClass, you can actually customize your list by any of the individual variables that you want to look at. So if you want to look at which school was ranked number 1 for their LSAT score last year or this year, you can do that. Or you can do GPA or location. So if you want to do it within a certain state, you can do that. You can look at even types of law programs offered, and there's even more. So very customizable. You can look at the likelihood of you being accepted into a specific school. So if you set the parameters to around where your LSAT score is, it'll only show you schools that will most likely accept someone with that LSAT score. So obviously, with any statistically based database, there will be exceptions to these rules, but it is nice to know whether you have a 30% chance of being accepted based off of your LSAT and GPA and stats or whatever, rather than, not having that information at all. So, super useful. As soon as you get your LSAT score, or if you have your GPA right now, you can go there, look at, what type of schools are around that GPA. And I mean, if you want to look at specific programs or specific areas of the nation, you can do that. Super useful. It's also nice to get, so like I said, a ranked list of the top schools in, say, business law or commercial law, for example. This will give you a great place to start your law school application list if you're creating a list of law schools to apply to, and will help you to look more deeply into certain law schools' programs. I definitely recommend it. I use it all the time. So let's move on to our last source. Alright, so if the first two didn't sound like your type of sites, this last type is, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. The last site I wanted to mention is called ILRG.com. That stands for Internet Legal Research Group.com, and they offer a basic raw data chart that you can manipulate to see those lists and to see, which schools do better in different areas. For example, bar passage rate, acceptance rate, student to faculty ratio, and etc. So they have kind of like the raw data on what goes into making up those big rankings that U.S. News and World Report put out. But it is, you can look at it, you can edit that raw data if you want to look at that. So just a short recap before we end here. We first went over U.S. News, which is kind of an overall ranking list, and how they compared to last year. The second was startclass.com, which is a customizable rank list. And third is ILRG.com, which is the raw data. And that's all that I have for you today. As always, if you have any comments that you'd like to add, or if you'd like to ask any questions, feel free to do that. I'm always willing to respond. Thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time. Special shout out to bensounds.com. Thank you, Ben Sounds, for all this free royalty-free music. See ya!